Hello, everybody, and welcome to Junk Journaling with Emily. Come along as I learn to create junk journals and take you along with me. For our first project here, we are going to come in and I am going to show you how to create your spine to your junk journal. And I am starting off with just a thrifted book. You go to your local thrift store, find a book. Better yet, if you have a book in your stash that you don't want anymore, or you're done reading and ready to discard it and create something with it, go ahead and grab that book. And I'm going to start taking off with just the book pages as well as the spine here. Now, I don't want the thinness of this book. I want it a little bit thicker, so I'm going to also trim off the inner spine, leaving the outside backing and the front backing in the front of my book to create my cover to my junk journal here. And I'm just pulling in my scissors and trimming off that center binding where the wording is at. Now, as far as that is, you can save that, discard it if you want, but a lot of junk journals a lot of people who junk journal save everything. So I'm going to save that. Maybe we'll come up with something later. Now, as far as my pieces are concerned, these are the two pieces that I'm going to use. And I'm just going to come in with a priority mail packing paid cardboard piece here that I have from my shipping supplies. And I am going to just eyeball. I don't really measure, you guys. I'm just going to eyeball the size that I want out of this piece to make our new spine. Now, the ratio here usually for your spine is 1 inch per signature, but I kind of go 1.5 inch per signature, about there. And if you don't know what a signature is the grouping of papers that make up your junk journal. So if I put the pages and I put one grouping of papers together, that's one signature. And if I do another grouping of papers, that is a second signature. And here I'm just slightly measuring where my 2.5 inches is, and I just mark it with the end of my pair of scissors here. And I will go ahead and come in and trim that to the best I can, giving this a 2-inch spine for my junk journal here. Now I'm just using my paper cutter here, but you can just come in with your regular scissors. I know when you first start junk journaling, you don't have a lot of these supplies. And I was junk journaling a little bit on my other channel, Emily's Upcycled Home, but I did decide to go ahead and separate my junk journaling from my DIY crafting. So this will be the very first video on this channel here. I'm excited to bring you this channel and excited to show you all how I started junk journaling. And I haven't done a lot of junk journaling, but I'm getting back into it. So we're going to go ahead and, like I said, trim up this edge of this cardboard to make our spine. And I'm folding it over to give me the thickness that I want so that my spine is secure, thick, and it's not a flimsy spine. So I go ahead and trim this to the best that I can and square it off the best I can. And once I have that fold in there and my piece trimmed up as much as I want, I'm coming back in here with my little cutter just to edge up and make sure my cardboard edges are a little bit more perfect, I guess, but there's no perfection in junk journaling, and there's no mistakes in junk journaling. Just create, have fun, and learn along the way, you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and trim this folded cardboard piece to the size that I need it for my front and back paper covers here. And as far as my glue is concerned and the glue that I use here, I use fabric tack glue, and you can find this on Amazon, and I'll go ahead and try to link that in the comments for you guys. And to make sure this hold stays together here and the flap does not open up, I am going to go ahead and glue this with some fab tack glue here and secure my fold in place. Now, once again, there is other glues that you can use if you want to try. I found that this one so far for me works the best, and I can use it on the fabric as well as the paper. But I know there is other brands out there that you can use. Just experiment and find the one that you like the best. Now, as far as attaching our spine to our outer and inner covers here, I am just coming in with some regular packing tape that I get off Amazon as well. And I have this on hand because I do ship products when I have my sales for my DIY pieces. So we're going to go ahead and put our packing tape on one side and flip our page, our cover here, and wrap it all around to the other side of our piece, making sure that it has a great bond and a great hold to our covers here. And this is where the bend in the spine is. You want to make sure that it bends smoothly before you finish that off. Go ahead and trim off whatever excess packing tape you need to, and then you do the same thing to the front or whatever the back is of your spine here. Once again, coming back in with that packing tape and attaching that to our cover, making sure that it's lined up nice and neat. And if it's not, go ahead and remove that and reattach it. It's very simple. It's not sticky all the way yet because we haven't really pressed into it and we haven't finished taping it off. So then we're going to go ahead and flip over our paper here or our cover and finish up that packing tape. Now I decided not to go all the way to the top like I did on the first one. Trim that here and then wrap over that remaining tape and then trim off that excess that way, just so that it covers the top and it has a better hold for the piece. Now here is our cover. So there is that piece that I was talking about that didn't quite make it through. So I go ahead and trim that off, but just checking it, make sure that the bend is good, that the hold is good, and that it's where I like it. And I'm just smoothing out the tape, making sure that the bond is good. Now, as far as covering your piece, you can choose whatever fabric you want here. I'm just coming in with a scrap fabric. I haven't went out to buy any other fabric. And how I'm going to attach my fabric is Mod Podge. Now, there's so many different ways to cover your pieces. You can use paper, you can use rice paper, you could use whatever you want, but I'm just going to keep this simple here, and we're going to just bring in this scrap fabric that I have and regular Mod Podge. If you want to buy the fabric Mod Podge, you can, but this one is just regular old Mod Podge. And I'm going to go ahead and coat the back of my book with this Mod Podge using my brush. And you want kind of a thick layer, but not too thick of a layer. And you want it so that it's thick enough so that the fabric and the bond to the book holds, but you don't want it too thick that it's just seeping through on the other side of the fabric. And if you make it too thin, your fabric will not bind to the book. So we're going to go ahead and continue on spreading on this Mod Podge here, giving this back of our book the first coating of Mod Podge and smoothing out the surface the best we can. And then after we have that coated the way we want, we're going to go ahead and come in with our cloth here. And I just picked this green fabric because this is what I had. And I'm just going to smooth out all the wrinkles and all the cloth here onto that book, making sure that the bond between the cloth and the Mod Podge has a great hold here. Now, as far as the spine is concerned, I'm coming in and this is going to be my first layer of my fabric. I'm going to have to sew in signatures. There's different styles of way to sew in signatures. You can do a hidden spine, which you'll learn later, or you can just come in and do a regular spine where you sew in there, and then we'll go ahead and cover up those pieces. But I want to layer up some different cloths here, so I'm not going to worry about the spine so yet. I'm just going to come in with my tool here, and you can use regular scissors, but I'm going to go ahead and trim around all the edges so that I have less fabric to work with. as I bend and fold over the fabric to the inside of the book, giving me more workability, if that's a word. But we're going to go ahead and trim all the excess off the edges of this fabric, and we'll go ahead using our Mod Podge once again to fold over the corners and fold over the outer edges into the inside cover of the book here. Now, some of this I cut a little bit too short. You probably want about 1/2 inch to 1 inch of fabric overlay there. And then you come back in with your Mod Podge and you put that on your book, on your fabric, so that when you come over to lay over the fabric and give that a nice clean edge, the fabric sticks and has a tight hold to the inside of your book here. Now I'm going to repeat that process all around the edge, and when I come to the corners, you're just going to do like a tuck and fold over, like if you're making the corners of your bed, or hospital corners as they call them. And I'm just using my fingers. Once again, nothing special here. You can also get a brayer or a roller, if that's what they're called, to go ahead and attach to roll over these pieces and smooth them out. But I'm just coming in with my hands and I'm tucking those corners in, giving it a little corner, and then adding more Mod Podge and rolling over the rest of the fabric there. I'm sorry I'm a little bit off camera here, but I'm just going to fold that corner in. Think about wrapping a present or making your bed, like I said, and then go ahead and fold that over using my Mod Podge there to adhere my fabric to my cover. And then come in with another light layer of Mod Podge and wiping up my mess, because I am a messy crafter. Raise your hand if you guys are also messy crafters, because you are not alone in that. So like we did the first part, we're going to come in and do our remaining edge here. And we're going to fold over our corners like our hospital bed and repeat that process of folding in and up so that the fabric attaches to the inner lip of our cover there. Once again, smoothing everything out with my fingers and coming back in with my Mod Podge and going over that again. There's a little thick piece here that I didn't quite like. It was a little bit too thick, so I went ahead and trimmed that edge there. And then here I come in with that Mod Podge just to make sure that we have a good tight bond of the fabric. Go ahead and repeat that process all around the edges, pulling down, pulling in so that the Mod Podge and the fabric adhere properly. Now, this is just the first step to this first journal that we are going to create on this channel. And as for the outside, I just go over lightly with the remaining Mod Podge that's on my brush, just to make sure there's a proper hold there and give it some protection as well. So after this, we're going to have to let this thoroughly dry, and then please go ahead and prepare your book here the way you want it in the fabric that you choose. And then I'll meet you again for our next video and continuing on our process here for our first junk journal here on Junk Journaling with Emily. So this is my green cover, and of course you guys, it's going to be layered, and I'm just going to show you my process here. There's so many different processes to follow and choose from, find what best works for you, but we're going to stop here and I'll see you guys on the next video. Thank you for joining me today on my very first video with Junk Journaling with Emily. And if you like this content, please help my channel grow. Hit that subscribe button and notification bell for more DIY videos.